If you clicked on this video, you probably already feel it. Not just, I want to be smarter, but that deeper frustration that your mind is capable of more and your life isn't showing it yet. You want to build something real. You can see the version of you who learns fast, thinks clearly, speaks with confidence, finishes projects, makes money from skills, and doesn't get overwhelmed by everything. But when it's time to move, your brain turns into fog, so you research, you collect tabs, you promise yourself you'll start tomorrow, and after a while you start thinking something dangerous. Maybe I'm just not that smart. Yet here's what I want you to know. Most people don't have an IQ problem. They have an attention problem, a consistency problem, and those are trainable. In Japan, there's a different way of looking at intelligence, less like a fixed number and more like a craft you build through small habits that become part of daily life. And honestly, I needed these habits too, because a few years ago, I went through a period where my brain felt slow, not because I was stupid, but because I was overloaded. Busy all day, yet empty at the end, reading the same paragraph twice and still not absorbing it, forgetting what I learned by morning, making plans and then collapsing under them. And one night I wrote in my notes, I have ambition, but my mind won't obey. And that was my wake-up call. So today I want to share 6 Japanese strategies that genius minds use to train focus, memory, clarity, and learning speed. The practical things people mean when they say, increase IQ. And I'm calling it the Lotus Method, because the lotus doesn't grow in perfect conditions. It grows in mud and still rises clean. And your mind right now is living in mud. Pressure, distraction, too many options. So we're going to build 6 petals, and each petal is a simple practice that removes friction and makes mental growth almost unavoidable. Petal 1 is Kaizen learning, the 1% rule, because most people try to get smarter the way they try to start a new life. Big dramatic plans, 2 hours a day, 5 books at once, a perfect routine. And the brain rebels. It feels heavy, so you delay, then feel guilty, then delay more. But Kaizen is different. It's continuous improvement so small your mind can't argue with it. And the rule is simple. Make the start so tiny you can't say no. 5 minutes of practice, 1 page of a book, 1 note, 1 problem solved. And that sounds laughably small until you do it daily, and suddenly your brain trusts you again because you're proving to yourself that you show up. And once the door is open, you often stay longer. You're training identity, not just information. This is how geniuses become consistent without relying on motivation. Petal 2 is Shoshin, beginner's mind. And this one is brutal in the best way because it kills the ego that blocks learning. Since the fastest way to stay average is to protect your pride, to pretend you understand, to keep going while confused because you don't want to feel dumb. And I used to do that constantly, especially with things I thought I was supposed to be good at. So I started using one practice that changed everything. After I learn something, I write it in the simplest way possible, like I'm explaining it to a 12-year-old. 2 sentences, no fancy words. And if I can't do it, I don't own it yet. So I go back and rebuild the foundation until it's clear. Shoshin keeps you open, and open minds learn faster than defensive minds. Petal 3 is Zanshin, sustained attention. And if you want the fastest IQ boost, you can feel this week. It's not a supplement, it's attention, because modern life trains your mind to flinch. Notifications, tabs, constant switching. So you become half present everywhere, and half presence feels like low intelligence because you can't hold complexity long enough to understand it. So Zanshin is the practice of remaining mind. 1 task, 1 direction, no switching, and the drill is simple. Set a timer for 25 minutes, pick 1 task, put your phone away, close extra tabs, and for those 25 minutes, do only that. And when your mind wanders, you don't get angry. You just return. The return is the training. And if you do 1 Zanshin block per day, your mind starts feeling sharper. Petal 4 is Seijaku, stillness. And this is the petal most people skip because it looks like doing nothing. But geniuses understand a calm mind learns faster, and a mind that never rests, never consolidates. It just consumes and forgets. And I noticed that when I was constantly watching, listening, scrolling, even productive content, my mind felt full but unclear, like a cluttered room. So I built a tiny ritual. 3 minutes of quiet every day. No phone, no music, no goal. Just sitting and breathing. Your thoughts become cleaner. Your decisions feel less emotional. Your focus feels less fragile. Petal 5 is Hansei, reflection without guilt, because most people reflect like this. I failed. I'm undisciplined. I'm not smart. And that kind of reflection is self-harm in slow motion. It drains energy and makes you avoid the work. But Hansei is calm and practical, used to improve systems, not punish the person. So once a week, you do a short review. What helped my mind this week? What distracted me most? What did I avoid and why? What will I change next week? And keep it clean. No drama, no identity crisis. Just observe, adjust, continue. And when I started doing this, I realized my problem wasn't intelligence. It was environment and design. My phone within reach, my sleep inconsistent, my tasks too big, my learning too vague. And Hansei gave me power because it turned confusion into clarity and failure into feedback. Petal 6 is Ikigai-driven study, purpose, because your brain remembers what it cares about and forgets what feels meaningless. And if you're forcing yourself to learn something with zero emotional connection, your mind will resist, procrastinate, and leak it out. So before you study, you write one sentence. I'm learning this because it gives me freedom, because it helps my family, because I want to be the kind of person who can do this. And that one sentence sounds simple, but it changes the energy of the session. Learning stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like building, and purpose makes the brain cooperate. Now here's how you actually use the Lotus Method without turning it into another complicated plan you quit in a week. You don't do all 6 perfectly. You pick one and you start small. But if you want a simple daily ritual that includes the core of all petals, do this once per day at roughly the same time. 2 minutes of stillness to center, Seijaku. Choose one mission, not 10, Ikigai plus Hansei clarity. Cut it down to the smallest starting action, Kaizen. Do one 25-minute focus block with no switching, Zanshin. Then end with one line of reflection. What did I learn and what will I adjust tomorrow? Hansei. And as you do this, keep Shoshin alive by forcing yourself to explain one idea simply instead of pretending you understand. This is the Lotus Method in motion. Small, gentle, and relentless. And over time, it rebuilds the mind the way training rebuilds the body. The Lotus Method is built on gentle correction. Missed a day? Fine, return tomorrow. Lost focus? Fine, return now. Didn't study? Fine, do 5 minutes, because consistency beats intensity and the lotus doesn't rise in one day. It rises because it keeps growing even in the mud. So if any of this resonated with you, start with the smallest step today, because this is the tool you build everything with, and you deserve to use it at full strength. Thank you for your attention.